So I got a comment saying that it might be helpful to see all the ways in which that I'm not sustainable, because especially online we can portray this kind of perfectionism and right way to do something, but in reality, like, what the hell do I really know? All I know is the things that I research and I try my best to understand, but I'm in no way an expert. I'm in no way an authority on what is and isn't sustainable. And I want to kind of, I don't know, bring down the illusion that I might be this perfect, sustainable person, even though I know a lot of you probably don't think that anyway. But I'm just trying to do the best that I can with what I have available to me. And I have a lot more things available to me than other people, so I'm just trying to do the best that I can with those things and those privileges. And I also want to show you my limits without justifying them, and just simply showing you what I can't do or what I choose not to do. I know that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but if you feel like sticking around, then I really hope that you enjoy this video and get something out of it. I can already tell that this video is going to highlight a lot of my insecurities and anxieties in general life. There's this one kind of hummus that I just can't replicate. I've tried everything to get it as smooth, everything to get the same taste, and I just can't. And it's my favorite hummus from a local shop near me. I think it's also a local company, but it comes in plastic. I've tried everything I possibly could to try and make this. It even tells you on the front the ingredients, and I've tried everything. I know it might seem trivial to some to talk about a single pot of hummus that I buy every now and again, but a lot of people in this movement are vilified for still using plastic despite not having accessibility and not having the time as well to make things from scratch all the time. Obviously, I have a lot more time than other people, which is why I do more often than not make things from scratch when I can. But I also wanted to talk more about this, or use this as an idea to think more widely or more broadly about. There are certain things that people still choose to buy or still want because they are a special item or they can't be replicated at home. Or sometimes you just don't want to make it yourself. And I try my best to make a lot of things from scratch, but on the weeks that I'm busier or the days that I just really want that specific hummus, I do. Another thing I very occasionally do is get my nails done. And this is something that I don't do very often, because if I bought those things myself, they would just sit in the cupboard and it would genuinely be a waste. So anytime something like a wedding comes up or a very special event, I use that as an opportunity to support this beauty salon in London, which is vegan, cruelty-free and women-owned. These are my own nails, so I don't get fake nails. I once got fake nails from there, and I did actually feel quite bad about that, even though that was the first time I had done it in an incredibly long time. But this time I decided to grow my nails myself so that I could get them done and not have to have that extra waste. I personally think if you want to and you can afford to do so every now and again, treating yourself and making yourself feel good is a nice thing. I rarely get ill, like really ill. So when I do, I genuinely have a bit of a meltdown. I think I must have some low-level form of health anxiety, because it's the same thing happens when I get a injury, and I will do everything I can to understand what's happening, why I'm feeling ill. Am I feeling tired because I'm iron deficient? Am I feeling ill because I've got a cold, or I've got allergies, or what is going on? And I will end up buying any medication that I think will make me feel better, and that often obviously comes in plastic and lots of packaging, and I'll overbuy things that I probably shouldn't buy because they're not needed. And I always do that thing where I just head to the internet and put in my symptoms if I'm feeling particularly ill, and I just worry a lot about it. When it comes to injuries, I will genuinely watch every single video there is on YouTube and look up every sort of physio blog and look at what they think that it could possibly be. Like, for example, when I got shin splints from running too much too soon, I just went full speed in trying to best understand what was going on. So I stopped running, I bought 2 bands that I would use for rehab exercises, and then I also bought a scraper. If you don't know what a scraper is, it's like this metal tool that you can use to break down the sort of scar tissue that builds up. I'm very glad that I bought those, and I actually use them still now. but it was one of those things that I did very impulsively because I just really got so upset that I had got another injury, because usually I'm very careful, usually I'm very measured in my approach to health and fitness and my body, and I'm in tune with those kinds of things, but I'm neurotic when it comes to things like that, illness and injuries, and I just go overboard and I just can't stop myself. It's just an anxiety I have. I told you this video is going to unearth all the anxieties and insecurities that I have. But the worst thing is I would buy these things without really knowing whether they're going to work. And this is completely counter to what I preach and what I try and practice, where I will mindfully choose things that will bring into my life and into my home, which I do 98% of the time. But when it comes to being ill, sustainability just goes out the window. But I want to add, though, that a lot of people have messaged me and felt guilty about taking medication and things like that, which you should never feel guilty for. I don't understand why there's so much shaming in this movement around using plastic when it comes to medication, or having to use it because that just improves the quality of your life. I think that if you're someone who has to use it, maybe it doesn't mean much coming from me, but it's your life, and if that is what you need for your health, then please don't listen to what people are saying if they're trying to shame you in any way. I'm sure many of you are aware that I am not an organized person. I try very hard to be organized in certain aspects of my life, but when it comes to traveling, going between here and London, going between here and my boyfriend's place, traveling just puts me in this whole other kind of frame of mind. Like, it almost doesn't feel like real life, and I'm always very unprepared because I leave things to the last minute because I'm trying to get work done before I go, and I always end up forgetting something. But I never buy stuff like that because that's just, for me, that would just be a waste of money because I have it at home and I'll just do without. It more comes to things like convenience foods. I'll have my water bottle with me, that I'm very good at being prepared about. But I will often buy something that's like a convenience food, like a sandwich or a packet of something, whatever it is, a cookie, you get the point. Even though I try very hard to live with minimal packaging in my life and whatever, when it comes to traveling, convenience really takes over. And I do try my best to get better at being organized, but I just find it really hard. I just find it really hard to be organized. As long as it's vegan, packaged food seems to be a go-to for me. This one actually comes down to sheer laziness. At university, I had to get a joint account with one of my housemates because for things like bills and stuff like that. And that was a long time ago. And that account is with NatWest, which is not a sustainable bank at all. In fact, it's one of the worst for investing in things like fossil fuels and arms and gambling and all the things that we want to be avoiding when we're putting our money into the bank. But because it's a joint account, I can't just simply go to the bank and close it. And I've even done this once before where I've gone in and been like, how do I close this account? How do I get off this account? And they gave me loads of forms to fill out, which I did do. And then I just don't know what happened. I just didn't either file them or I didn't have them sent off because I'm not in contact with this person anymore. Like, we didn't remain friends after university. So it's really hard. And I also actually messaged them a few years later on Instagram, but they didn't reply, even though they saw my message. So if I want to get rid of this bank account, then it has to be up to me. But for some reason, I just can't. I'm just being incredibly lazy about it. Even though I know they're creating friction and there's a lot of sort of bureaucracy around it, it is possible to take my name off this account and close it, but I'm just not doing it. I don't know why. As I am moving in less than 6 weeks, I think that this is probably a really good time to go in and do it again. And this video has reminded me that this is something that I desperately need to do. In the UK, it is quite easy to change banks, which is why I'm giving myself a hard time about it and why I think that this is an unsustainable thing that I really need to change. In other countries, it's not as simple to change your bank. So, you know, if that's not something that you can do quite yet or at all, then try not to worry too much about it. But if you are in a position to change your bank, it is one of the best things that we can do. That's just like a one-time swap that can make a really big impact. Because banks do use our money to invest in whatever they see fit. So it might not align with our values. And having a joint account with NatWest, even though there's no money in that account, it's still showing that there could be potentially money, or it's still showing support for this bank, and I just don't want my name on it anymore. So I really need to sort that out. I'm just trying to think if I wrote some other stuff down. I mean, to be honest, when it comes to my partner, like, I don't really eat out ever or get takeaways very often. When we are together, we want to do it more because we obviously want to do a few sort of date night type things, and definitely get takeaways occasionally is wasteful because of the packaging and things like that. And so that's definitely something I still do. Like, there's a local Chinese takeaway that do an incredible vegan menu. Like, it's unbelievable, and all their stuff comes in packaging, but I want to support that restaurant and I really love their food, so occasionally we will do that. This is of course by no means an extensive list, but I just wanted to share this with you because a lot of people always message me saying that they're worried that they're creating too much waste, or they're worried that they're not living up to this sort of perfectionism that is sort of shown online. But in reality, a lot of people who talk about sustainability online definitely aren't perfect themselves. There are so many things that we do that are probably very hypocritical. We probably say things and then change our mind. We might have researched something really well but then missed the mark on how we delivered it. And there are so many things that it's just really hard to ensure that you are catering to absolutely everyone, even if, you know, we really try our best. So I just wanted to share with those things with you to see if, you know, I don't know. I thought someone wants to see this video, so I thought I would make it for you. I do read your comments and I do try to make videos that are really aligned with what you're asking for. So if there is another video that you want to see, then please let me know. The video I did actually on sustainability versus frugality, is frugality on the rise, was one of your comments. So I made that video because you wanted it. So let me know if there are any other things that you would like. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. But I would also love to hear the things that you do that are not necessarily sustainable in the comments below, and what you do as well. Because there are so many things we do that we talk about, but there are so many things that we don't do that we don't talk about, maybe because of guilt or shame. Anyway, food for thought. I hope you enjoy this video and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.